Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the MCU is going to MCU like it always does. It never fails. The MCU is here. It is not going anywhere. So many people have tried to defend Marvel, ironically, and say that the MCU is going away little by little, that they're getting woke and going broke, and they're realizing their mistakes and blah, 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 and things are going to go back to normal. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. I've never agreed with that. I've always said that they're never going to change, and this is going to be just another example of what I mean. So there's an article here from Cosmic Book News, and I've also read this from multiple different other sources that says a live-action female Iron Fist is apparently headed to the MCU. Finn Jones may return. A female Iron Fist will also be featured in the upcoming Eyes of Wakanda animated series. So apparently they're going to sex swap Iron Fist, and they're going to bring the iteration that was recently introduced, if I'm not mistaken, in a retconned version of Iron Fist, where they made him essentially female from the beginning. This is the version they're going to bring to the MCU, or I should say the MCU. So let's get into this article, guys, from Cosmic Book News. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm, and consider subscribing to my manga channel. The links are in the description box below. I will love to see you there. So it says, just as I told you a couple weeks ago, now it's said that a female Iron Fist is coming to the MCU in the form of a live action version. It's already been claimed a female Iron Fist will debut in the upcoming Eyes of Wakanda animated series. The Marvel Comics also retconned Iron Fist to have a female origin and introduce female versions. So big surprise, the live action Iron Fist in the MCU will be female. Now, I know that, there is a high likelihood that this is probably true, okay? This is still a rumor ultimately, so take it with a grain of salt, but I would bet money that this is probably real in some capacity, because we are still actively in the MCU. It has not gone anywhere. Echo is a prime example of the fact that the MCU has not gone anywhere, even though Echo is not even part of the MCU because it's a Elseworld story, or it's a story that takes place in its own little bubble. Still, the MCU is very live and very real, and adding a female Iron Fist will be a creme de la creme of adding characters to the MCU. So we'll see what ultimately happens, whether or not this rumor is actually true, but let's see where it came from. So the rumor via Daniel RPK also says Finn Jones could actually return from the Netflix series, but according to the scooper, Danny Rand won't be on the Iron Fist going forward in the MCU, but the main version of Iron Fist will have a woman in the main role. So it sounds like they are bringing back Finn Jones to pass the mantle to a female actress. Now, that we have seen them do this time and time again. They did it with Hawkeye, they do it with many different characters. If they didn't kill off Iron Man, they would have had him do it and pass off the mantle to Ironheart. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely going to be true. If they do a female Iron Fist, they will use a male to pass the torch. They will clickbait, they will bait and switch, and make sure that many people click on it expecting to see a male Iron Fist, only for it to be passed down to a woman, and everybody ends up disappointed at the end of the TV show. That will definitely happen if there is a female Iron Fist. So here's a tweet right here. It says a new project for Iron Fist is rumored to be in development with a woman in the main role. Finn Jones could potentially return as Danny Rand, but he won't be the main Iron Fist going forward in the MCU. So here's the two pictures side by side so that you get a nice little comparison, because clearly this is what everybody wants to see here on the left. We want to see female Iron Fist. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, give us female Iron Fist. That's what the world needs. As I went over last time in the Marvel Comics, as part of the Woke Marvel Now initiative, there is a female character named Pi who takes on the mantle of the Iron Fist and is a successor to Danny Rand, the original Iron Fist. The Marvel Comics also retconned the history and introduced Fan Fei as the first Iron Fist, a female version from something like 1,000,000 years ago. It's around the same time period that saw Carol Danvers become Captain Marvel and Kamala Khan become Miss Marvel, and we know how that all worked out in the MCU. Yeah, we sure as hell do. The Marvels was one of the biggest flops, if not still considered the biggest flop right now for the MCU at the time of this recording. Obviously, that can change, especially considering that Madam Web is not actually part of the MCU, so that won't be counted as an MCU flop, and that will undoubtedly do worse than the Marvels, which, I mean, statistically speaking, that is just crazy to me, the amount of money that movie's probably going to lose. But still, the only saving grace from Madam Web is that it doesn't have anywhere near the budget of the Marvels. But still, it is going to be a massive flop for Sony and for Marvel, and they just aren't learning their lesson. They want to put out female characters left and right because they swear that that's what people want, even though everybody's voting with their dollar. They're clearly telling them otherwise, but Marvel's not going to want to listen. Marvel has their own ideas, their own agenda they're going to want to push, and they're going to do it regardless of how much money they're going to lose, because they're subsidized by by Disney at the end of the day, and Disney has subsidization in multiple different avenues of revenue that they don't really care about losing too much money when it comes to the actual box office. The only thing about losing money in the box office for Disney that they actually care about is the embarrassment that they get from losing so much money, because it's public knowledge. People know how much money they're losing with every single release. So it says, years ago, Insider filled me in on the original plan was to reboot the Netflix characters, and that plans were underway for a Luke Cage and an Iron Fist Heroes for Hire series. Charlie Cox would have been replaced and a new Daredevil brought in. Mike Colter replaces Luke Cage, and Finn Jones out as well. With everyone returning to the MCU from Netflix, I wonder if Mike Colter can be far behind. Colter currently stars in a popular series on Paramount Plus with Evil. Great show. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, ultimately, if they do end up bringing back these characters, they're never going to be the versions that you might have liked in Netflix, right? Netflix had much darker, much grittier characters for the Marvel characters anyway, and they never port over very well, right? Because Disney's not Netflix. Disney's going to have their own personal idea. And just think about it for a second. Disney's Echo was rated TV MA, right? Because it was considered bloody, gore, and all that stuff, right? And then if you watch the show, did anybody consider that show to be dark or gritty? Absolutely not. What, Daredevil got shot with a shotgun once? That was it? Like, nothing really was very gritty about that show to warrant its rating. But if you had that kind of rating on Netflix, that would be totally different. I guarantee you it would be a hell of a lot darker, a hell of a lot grittier, maybe not super gory, but it would still pass for whatever rating it was given. Disney, on the other hand, they only did that to give people the argument who are saying, oh, it's Disney, it's going to be Disney-fied, it's not going to be as gritty as a Netflix. So they're like, okay, we're going to slap a TV MA rating on it. So guess what? Now what are you going to say? And then you end up watching the show expecting something dark and gritty, and you end up getting a Disney version, which is exactly what you thought was going to happen. So I don't have faith that they're going to be able to port over the Netflix characters successfully to Disney, because once they get to Disney and get on the hands of Disney writers, that's it. I mean, it's going to go right out the window, and it's not going to be interesting. They don't have the method or the ways or the creativity or the talent to be able to write something like that. They write Disney-fied shows, right? That's what they're for. They write MCU shows. This is why they all fail. This is why when the characters are ported over, Daredevil has been cucked an ungodly amount of times. He was used to push She-Hulk, then he was used to push Echo. Now he's probably going to be used to push something else. Whenever they need a push for a female character, they throw Daredevil in there. That's basically what they do. Daredevil is like the Big Show of the Marvel, right? Big Show is used to bolster up all these wrestlers. Same thing with Daredevil for the MCU and the MCU. That's his role. That's his job now. So unfortunately, again, I don't have faith that they're going to be able to do anything proper with the Netflix characters, but ultimately, we're going to have to find out when the show actually comes out. I'm sure I'll hear it from some people that end up watching it, but I will be one of those people that will not be watching it. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.